Thank you. Okay, gentlemen. Thank you for your participation, and I wish that you could give us your contribution to that, but it's up to you. And I also want you to be more active so that we can, maybe there are some constraints we can deal with. Okay, gentlemen. Let me give you some example. In the physical science example. Now, in physical science, we have many rules, right? We have the motions, we have the dynamics, we have the speed, time, distance, relationship, etc. How can I infuse skills in such theoretical part, which is difficult? Like, I mean, our colleagues here, they said something that, especially in the computer science, it is intangible. They cannot, I mean, sense it. But here we have something which is, for example, gravity. How can we sense the gravity? Gravity cannot be sensed. But how can I infuse the theory and the value and the meaning of the gravity, for example, in the student's mind efficiently? So this is a skill that we can use. Now, we know that we have force, something called force, work, power, and energy. Those who, I mean, all of us actually studied this in our high schools, especially who was for science sector. So, what is force? Force is applying. I'm applying a force. Work is doing. It's not a force. Force plus something else. What was that thing? For those who can recall. What is the relation between force and work? Okay. Now, power, we are developing or changing in energy. And energy is the capacity of doing work. These are some terminology, although, I mean, they are for some of you not understood. But how can I assume that you are students for the first time you come to the class, and I want to teach you this thing in a skillful way. Okay, force, we apply a force. Now, I am applying a force on the earth, on the floor. I am applying a force on my hand. So force is applying. Okay, now this is a mass. It is stationary. Assume it is 5 kg or 5 Newton. We apply a force by pushing this mass. You know, this demonstration is one of the skills, right? If I am only saying that we have a mass which is acted on by a force called 5 Newton, without showing it, you know, showing, we retain the information 10%. Rather than telling, right? Compared to telling. Now, the work here is 0 because the equation of work is force times distance. Distance is 0. It is stationary. Now, if I push this for 5 meters, I push this for 5 meters. Now, the mass becomes here. Now, the force is we have frictionless, we don't have friction. So the work is 250 Newton meter, which is called joule. So 5 times 50. Now again, if I push this is 100 pound, 100 Newton. If I push this 200 Newton, the work is 0 because I did not move anything, right? So again, if I just make action, showing them exactly, if I push this and it's pushable for 1 meter with 1 Newton, then it is 1 Newton meter, which is joule. So if I just show them how things become more breakable. So how to deliver this classroom? By involving students. I can bring students and ask them to come, and one sit on a chair like this. ask the other one to push him, and ask the first one to resist, the work is zero. No matter what the force is, the work is zero. But if I ask the one sitting on the chair just to release, and he moves for 2 meters, then whatever force times that distance is the work. So by this, I can just practice and involve them. Involve me, I will remember. Show me, I may forget. Sorry, tell me, I may forget. Show me, I may remember. But involve me, I will understand and learn. So this is one of the examples that we can use. I mean, of course, we can tailor it to the way your subject is. But this is one of the things. Now, when we come to the math, statistics, mathematical science, look to this. Find, calculate, analyze, identify, simplify, group, derive, solve, integrate. All these are verbs, right? But they are skills, isn't it? They are skills. Finding things is a skill. Calculate, you want to calculate means you have to get some input, some output. Again, it's a skill. And so on. Analyze. So you have some inputs, you want to analyze them and see what are the results will be. So if I show the students to do this just abstractly or without any doing, without any sharing, of course it will be as a knowledge and that will go quickly. But if I share them, if I show them, if I give, for example, some simulation or some story or some action, this will be more more efficiently and also more successfully. So they are all, as I said, the skills, and these verbs are nothing but skills. And similarly, in your course, you will find similar verbs. They are skills. This is why, when I said in the very beginning that we want to infuse, we want to use whatever we have and see what skills are suitable for that moment, for that students, for that group of students, for that class, and we apply so that we can get the utmost benefits of that course or that section. Okay. Now, what are the classroom skills that we want to cover in the last hour of this, or last 1.5 hours in our workshop? Now, these are the skills. Storytelling is a skill. We can use it as introduction to the course, as colleagues said here and there, that we can use it as a motivation, as why, as introduction to the course, telling a story. We can use it also if the course, accept the stories like history, like geography, like, for example, medical science. You can get a case study is a story, actually. Case study is a story by itself. So storytelling. Questioning skills is another skill that we can utilize. Presentation skills from students and from the instructor. Thinking skills, which is the most clear skills that we can use in our classrooms. Note-taking skills, when we talk about the students and how to enforce the information that I give in the class on paper so that they can read it later and utilize it in solving problems and in preparation for their exams and also for their coming lives. The advising skills from the student, from the instructor to the students, is one of the skills that's very, very important. It can solve many of the problems in the classroom and elsewhere. And web search and research skills, which is web-based learning. And we have team working skills and project-based skills. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot cover all these skills. Each of them will need one full lecture. So, but at least we have to throw some lights. How we can use them, where we can use them, what do we mean by them, and some application here and there, in our university courses, and hopefully that they will be implemented by you in coming year, inshallah. Now let's talk about the storytelling. So what the story provides? It can spark the interest. Now, story is nothing but composition of actions and facts, sometimes facts between brackets, sometimes not facts, for a purpose. It's a composition of actions and some facts for some purpose. And when we talk about the skills here, in the classroom skills, all the skills should be intentionally delivered. I don't give a skill just for a skill, to be a skillful instructor. No, a skill should serve some purpose. If it doesn't serve a purpose, no need for that. And it will backfire to you because you will lose time. A student will lose time and maybe lose interest. If suppose out of 50 minutes, I give, for example, 30 minutes just talking about the story. What about the rest of the, 20 minutes? It will not be enough to cover whatever I was intended to cover. So it will be a waste. So a story should be, or any skill, by the way, should be intentionally delivered. It should be for a purpose, for a certain purpose. Sometimes purposes. Okay. It sparks the interest. It assists in memory. It stays there for a longer time. A story, because you can link. In our minds we have what's called anchors, memory anchors, that it links some of the things with some of the actions or some of the events. Okay? And the story can assist and can insert the information and the things in minds. It reduces the anxiety. If a student, for example, is, feeling some discomfort or some depression, like Dr. Abdul Rauf said, what's your own mind? What did you dream last time? So now this is a leading questions. We come to the questioning skills. These are leading questions that an instructor doesn't need an answer. He just wants to spark, and the story can be used like that. It can create a comfortable and supportive atmosphere in the classroom, especially when it comes in the very beginning. It gives a release, a relief, and a preparation for whatever is coming. And also it builds rapport between the instructor and the students. The more you are near to the students, the more you can attract them, the more they benefit from you. Yes, madam.
I can give a tangible example of how we use stories in my language training and language sessions. So, for example, I use it to pre-teach vocabulary. So as you said, I spark their interest, okay, and then I put the vocabulary I want to teach them into the story.
Good, very good.
Maybe using some visuals to let them understand while I'm telling the story. And after, they're hearing the story as if they're just hearing what I have to say about my life or what happened to me yesterday or whatever. And then I put on the board whatever vocabulary they need to learn.
Very good.
So after they have heard it and they paid attention because they want to listen and they want to understand what's happening in the story, they see it. So I think the retention level of this kind of activity is very high. And as you said, it covers all the points on the board, on the slides, reduces anxiety, it makes a very, very nice and comfortable atmosphere in the classroom, and it serves the purpose very well.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, our sister here said she's teaching English, and she uses a story and using the verbs in her story, the verbs that she is going to introduce to the students at that session in a story strategy. So that it will be retained more, and that will be more beneficial, and giving the healthy environment for the students, and take it easy. It can be taken easily and smoothly. Thank you. Okay, so these are the things that story can tell. And if anybody wants to share some idea, like our sister here, how he can use a story, if he uses a story. If not, please keep it in your mind, and we'll have another exercise, how to use the story. So we need everybody to prepare for a story for his lecture. Okay, now the other skill is questioning skills. Questioning skills, actually, when, who, what, why, where, from where, what if, all these questions actually started for a question. Now the question is two-part, it's two-way. Either an instructor asks a question or questions, or students ask questions, and each question has to have an answer, right? If a question is kept open without any answer, that's a problem. So we have to have a satisfied answer to each question. Unless I targeted that to keep the question open so that the students can search for it and look for it. Okay, let's talk about the question skills. Now, questions for learning. Now it comes to the faculty. Now, the instructor gives a question. It is a preparation for the students to learn, to clarify, to give some information. Like, for example, if I'm teaching a history course or an English course, what is the past participle of a verb read? Maybe it's known to everybody, right? So the answer, everybody can answer it. But if I pinpoint one student to answer that question, so next time the other students will expect that I will ask them similar questions, right? So it is a sort of initiation, not only clarification, and so it is introduction, and it can be used as the introduction. Now the instructor presents the information and asks the lower type questions, which is, as I said, is known to everybody. This is one of the type of questions that can just give when, where, what is the capital of, for example, Saudi Arabia. So everybody knows. But what is the capital of Chile? So they have to recall, right? They have to recall the answer and start thinking or recalling, and so on. Some of these questions can be used. Or if I want some answers that are linked to what I am going to introduce. They are called leading questions. We'll come to these question types in a minute. And finally, those questions which are asked for further questions. Questions for questions, which is called, sequence of questions. Okay, now for the students, question for a student is a means of discovery, understanding, clarifying, etc. Now, if I am an instructor and I don't like questions, I'm not a good instructor. If a student asks a question, what does it mean? And what it affects me as an instructor? Or what it should affect me as an instructor? First of all, I should be happy. As my colleague said here, that a question from a student means that he wants to learn, and it may be not good for him only, for the others. Because some students are shy, I don't hesitate to ask questions, right? And some students actually did it for him. Okay? So a question from a student is a good for the instructor, a good for the students, and a good for the teaching environment or learning environment. But if suppose we don't have any questions, we don't have any comments, we don't have any activities, we don't have any sharing, now the lecture will be, or the classroom will be very dull, and I mean most of the students will get disconnected from the students. Unlike where everybody, each students are, I mean, looking to the instructor while he's talking, while he's teaching, while he's asking questions, while he's receiving answers, and so on and so forth. Now, a student thinks what he needs to ask about, because we have to put ourselves in a student's place, right? And see what answer he's seeking, what answer he wants. And if I did not answer him the right answer, then the next subject will not be clear to him. So again, it is a sequence strategy. Of course, this is how the students, how we can teach the student to make the questions. They have to formulate, compose the questions in his own word, in mind or in paper. Now, many times, when a student asks questions, I do understand what he wants, but he could not present it in the way it should be, right? So what I should do in this case? What do you think I should do in this case? When a student could not present his questions in the correct way that he wants, maybe because of the English barrier, or maybe because he is shy, or because of anything. Yes? Exactly. You should repeat his question. I think we are practicing this. But if you answer the question directly without completing the question, then again you have a misconnection. But if you repeat the question, okay, your friend, your colleague said that this. Is this what you want? Of course, because you are reformulating the question in the way you think that he wants. If suppose he said, no, I didn't want it this way, I want it the other way, then again, reformulate it another time. So that you reach the point that whatever he wants, whatever you answer to.
And sometimes
Yes.
the student is asking the question in a wrong way, or maybe if I try to correct him or her, I do tell her that if I'm doing it, I'm just learning something or making it learn, so that he doesn't discourage next time to ask me the
Exactly.
questions. Because sometimes it may have a negative impact if you try to correct him every time that his question should be like this.
Yes.
But if you inform him that, okay, I'm correcting it so that we learn, you learn, me learn, everybody learns, then you can create this as well.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yes, this is good. That, I mean, we have to keep the rapport between us and the students. Otherwise, he will, I mean, next time he will not ask questions, and he will not listen to me again and again. Okay. Now we have different questioning method. We have open or closed questions. We have probing questions. We have leading questions, and we have inspiring questions. So this I want to, I mean, give some details about of these. For example, the closed questions. These are some of the examples. You have this in your notes. The closed questions, actually, they are only yes or no, or very short, one word, maximum 2 words. Are you feeling better today? He said yes or no, or maybe half. You know, and again, I mean, I'm saying that our questions should be for a purpose, right? So these are the closed questions. Now, do you understand? Have you submitted your homework? Is that your final answer? And was Arabic your favorite course? And so on, like these questions. When we talk about open questions, no, here we need detailed. We need information. We need to, I mean, tell the student to give more detail, more information, and not only yes or no. You see, the type of question, I mean, stated us where to go. How do you prepare for your exam tonight? Or how did you, okay. What do you plan to do immediately following the graduation from the college? He starts to say, okay, after graduation, I'll maybe go to the higher education for master degrees, or I'll go for a work. And he starts talking. So again and again, I'm reiterating that a question or a skill is for a purpose. So each question or each type of things, what are your major effects on the production of Al-Hassa agricultural sector? What is the matter? And so on. So these are the open questions. Now problem questions actually, now here we want something to, for next step, like where are you studying? In which department you are studying? I know the answer, but I want him to repeat it so that he can, have what you call low anxiety if he has, or I mean, he can feel better, feel comfort. Some of the answers I know. Now, what's your favorite subject in that department? I know. He has to talk about his department first, okay? So I know his departments, and so on. What's your current GPA? And so on. Leading questions. Now, which subject in KFU? Okay. Now I specify where is he, right? I don't want, it is only especially for people or students to study. You are studying in, how good was Dr. Al-Ghamdi last academic term, and so on. So I specify some of the answers. I mean, part of the answer he will continue on that business or not on something else. So these are the type of questions we can having in the questions.
Question number 2 is very dangerous, and you are asking something in the last slide.
Okay. Inspiring questions. Now, this is more motivational and sensational and emotional things. Inspiring. So you open the future for him, whether the near future, intermediate future, or the further future. Would it be wonderful if you get a degree in medicine? Would you like to be an international certified trainer? Doesn't it fit successfully to be a KFU future faculty member? And so on. You see, it lets him open his mind and start imagining, and some of these questions are suitable for, as I said, in the